Greetings, I am Samantha Berger, Water Resource Specialist, part of the Natural Resource Division at Apple Valley. Today we will be going through training related to the city's NPDES MS4 system. Now that stands for National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NPDES, and Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4. I know, it's quite the mouthful. But city staff are here today to help make sense of this program and how it affects your job duties and how our great city operates. Now for a quick history lesson, the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or NPDES, is a federal program that was created as part of the Clean Water Act in 1972. This monumental act stemmed from the crazy incident of the Cuyahoga River in Ohio catching fire due to industrial waste being dumped into the river. Now, this is a rather crazy event, but the good news is we have come a long way. Today, this NPDES program requires states to administer an MS4 program to cities, counties, and other local government units who own and operate a storm sewer network, or the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4. The MS4 includes all curb and gutter, catch basins, sumps, storm pipes, and stormwater basins in the city. It even covers operations of our stockpiles, pet waste, and winter salting activities. The main goal of the program is only rain down the drain. This program is really all-encompassing and it requires teamwork across all departments to implement the requirements of the MS4 permit. In summary, the goal of the MS4 program is to ensure stormwater utilities are functioning and maintained. This is done through inspections and cleanout activities. To ensure construction projects manage stormwater during and after. This is through erosion control inspections, stabilizing our soils, and our stormwater ponds. To help protect and improve water quality, this is through illicit discharge detection, this only rain down the drain, street sweeping activities, and our water quality improvement projects. And lastly, we like to educate the public on water quality. We do this through homeowner programs, storm drain stenciling, those sorts of things. It's through implementing these best practices we really can have an impact on our water quality. Here we have a graph of Farquhar Lake and the improving water quality that we've seen over time. So now we're going to be talking about illicit discharge. Sounds interesting, right? Well, illicit discharge refers to the dumping of any non-stormwater substance into the storm sewer system. This includes grass clippings, used mechanical fluids, eroded soils, concrete washout, and can also include the unlawful connection of a sanitary pipe to a stormwater pipe. So when you're out in the field, evidence of illicit discharges and connections can include looking for dry weather flows at outlets, stormwater with unusual odors or appearance, suspect connections, any evidence of dumping or staining at catch basins or outfalls. So when you're out in the field, your responsibilities will include reporting on these things. For emergencies, we want you to call 911. Fire also has hazmat training, and fire can handle these ongoing spills with their equipment. They will call in other departments if needed. Now, during business hours, you're going to want to call utilities. So that's at 952-953-2400. They will also pull in other divisions as needed, and they'll contact the Minnesota duty officer if need be. These are going to be emergency situations where we've got oil going directly into the lake, or we've got a lot of harmful substances being poured into the catch basin. Those are examples when we want to call the Minnesota duty officer. Now, if you're seeing some harmless solid substances from residents, such as grass clippings, you can go ahead and call code enforcement or reach out to natural resource staff. Now, during non-business hours, so say you catch something, you're going to want to call dispatch, and that's at 952-322-2323. And dispatch will call the on-call person to get them to come and help. Now, if you're sitting there, you've made the call, we really want you to contain those spills if you can while help arrives. Staff have also created a flow chart of illicit discharges, and so we recommend that you bookmark that on your iPod. All illicit discharges must be reported annually as part of the MS4 permit, so make sure you're reporting that information to the appropriate staff. The City of Apple Valley has many lakes that are listed as impaired, meaning they are not meeting state water quality standards. Studies known as TMDLs, or Total Maximum Daily Loads, identify sources of pollutants and assign specific pollutant allocations, or waste load allocations, to contributing MS4 permit holders such as cities and counties. For example, the city needs to reduce an additional 18.4 annual pounds of phosphorus in Lake Alamagnet in order to meet our TMDL goals. This is actually a 55% reduction in our initial allocation of 30.8 pounds. That's good progress through projects that we've installed that have helped reduce the amount of phosphorus that enter into Alamagnet Lake. Measuring water quality plays an important role in managing our lakes and ponds as part of our MS4 system. Natural Resources staff measure different water quality parameters to observe trends in water quality and to determine the effectiveness of water quality improvement projects, such as stormwater ponds and structural pollution devices, or SUMPs, installed by the city. Parameter measures include water quality, which is measured with a Secchi disc, total phosphorus, which is the amount of nutrients in the water, dissolved phosphorus, which is the amount of nutrients absorbed in the water, chlorophyll A, the level of algae in the water, dissolved oxygen, which is how much oxygen is in the water, and chloride. Added nutrients from leaves, grass clippings, and pet waste contribute to algal blooms and decreases water quality and recreational activities. This is why activities such as street sweeping, maintaining our sumps and ponds, are an important and effective way to improve and protect water quality. So today we will be taking some chloride samples, and in order to do that, we utilize what's called a Kemmerer bottle. What this allows us to do is take samples at different depths. So first I will be taking a deep water sample. So what we do is we just submerge this down. And with chloride samples, we want to take two samples, one towards the bottom of the lake and then one towards the surface of the lake. So we just lower this down. We've got a knot. I'll just do it. And then we use this messenger to send it down, and it actually closes the bottle for us so that we can collect the sample at the depth that we want. So if that went well, we should be able to get our sample. So you can see it's coming out here. Open this up. And then we've got our sample at the depth that we want. Chloride from de-icing salts and water softeners are becoming a big concern for Minnesota lakes. Chloride can negatively affect wildlife and the water chemistry of the lake. Plus, once it's in the water, it's nearly impossible to remove. Just 1 teaspoon of salt is enough to pollute 5-gallon bucket of water. That is why it's so important to use salt sparingly in our city operations and ensure all our equipment is calibrated. Just a small coffee cup should be enough to cover about 10 sidewalk squares. More salt does not equate to more melting power, so please remember that. And if you spill some salt, please sweep it up. As part of the MS4 permit, the city must annually report on these projects and practices we have installed that help us meet our pollutant allocations for each impaired water body. The city has completed assessments for different lakes to identify the best locations to install water quality improvement practices. We use these studies to help leverage grant dollars to install these water quality projects, which help us meet our pollutant reduction goals. A recent example, installed in 2018, is an iron-enhanced sand filter that was installed in Sunset Park, which is just upstream of Lake Alamagnet. This special iron-enhanced sand actually binds with dissolved phosphorus in the water to remove nutrients before reaching the lake. Staff actually measured the effectiveness of the system by taking samples of the untreated water and the water treated by the iron-enhanced sand. We know it's working as designed when the nutrient levels are reduced after they flow through the filter. Other recent projects include a Long Lake Park iron-enhanced sand filter, stormwater basins installed along Johnny Cake Ridge Road, and the expanded pond at Redwood Park. All these projects were funded through Minnesota's Clean Water Fund, which is part of the Clean Water Land and Legacy Amendment passed in 2009. These projects wouldn't be possible without good planning and partners, such as the Vermilion River Watershed. We are grateful to utilize these resources when we try to get these projects installed and as we try to meet these water quality goals. In addition to our city projects, the city offers grants to landowners interested in installing water quality improvement projects such as rain gardens, native gardens, or shoreline stabilization projects. This is through our Rainwater Rewards program. Native plants utilized in these projects have long root structures that help encourage infiltration into the soil and provide habitat to our pollinator friends, while also helping to stabilize slopes. The city utilizes buffers around our stormwater ponds because of these benefits. To manage our city's MS4, everyone, including residents, play an important role. We thank you for your commitment in helping keep our city great and improving the water quality in our area lakes. None of it would be possible without you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We know this is a lot of information.
Hello everyone. I'm Mike Endres, the Park Superintendent for Apple Valley. The following is a presentation covering the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System, or NPDES, as it pertains to the park system. I'll address turf maintenance, dog waste signs, our pesticide and herbicide program, the fertilize program, and stockpiles. Currently, we mow 400 acres of grass. We keep the mower settings at 2.5 inches or higher. Keeping the settings higher means that the individual blades of grass have more surface area. This gives the plant a higher rate of photosynthesis. In turn, a healthier plant and root system, also protecting the crown of the plant and giving it a better filter capabilities. An additional benefit is the thick, lush lawn crowds out weeds. We continue to blow off the grass clippings and hard surfaces, keeping them from washing into the catch basins and getting into the holding ponds. This should be an ongoing practice for individual homeowners as well. We daily clean off mower decks, keeping any residual clippings from getting onto the hard surface areas. The clippings itself are a benefit to the existing stand of grass. The composting clippings break down, providing nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. The key is to mow often, preventing clumping. Sharpening mower blades often also is a benefit to keep the turf healthy. It helps prevent the damage to the individual blades of grass with a clean cut, not creating a shredding effect. Currently, we have pick up after your pet waste signs at Hayes, Belmont, Greenleaf, Faith, Diamond Path, Cobblestone, and Cedar Isles. The key to the success of this program is for the general public to be active participants and follow the ordinance. Currently, we have 5 staff that have certified pesticide applicators license. Our applications for pesticide is very minimal. In the past couple of years, there has been a lot of hype to treat for Japanese beetles. We've treated some trees in the past and have found that it didn't seem to make any difference. Now we have learned that it's not worth the treatment because the trees can withstand the infestation and don't run the risk of killing pollinators. Our herbicide program is contracted out for the weed control. 95% of the system is covered by the contract. We will spot apply in areas that are not covered in the program only if needed. We do apply preen to some of our plant beds to control the weeds. Primarily, any of our chemical applications are with a non-selective herbicide. We've abandoned the use of glyphosate and switched to an organic product called Final Sand, which is a non-restrictive chemical. We will apply on mulch rings around trees, signs, and fences to reduce weed whipping. Chemical applications are recorded and must be kept for 5 years after the treatment date. In a normal year, we apply just under 30 tons of fertilizer throughout our park system. Applications are in the spring and early fall. May is generally a good month in the spring to fertilize when the grass is actively growing. Mid to late September is a good month to apply fertilizer in the early fall. During this time of year, the plant is working to store nutrients to survive the winter. You do have to pay close attention to the temperatures in the fall because you only want to feed the grass when it's still actively growing, basically still green. There's ongoing studies supporting the idea to fertilize before the grass goes brown. As the temperatures drop, the plant will not take up the nitrogen, therefore losing the nutrients or washing away in the soil. We use a non-phosphorus blend of 24-0-12. It is illegal to apply phosphorus unless the new seeding or if the soil test confirms the need for it. Soil samples are collected every fall at our athletic complexes to determine the nutrient needs for the following year. Based upon results, we apply only precise amounts of prescriptive fertilizer to satisfy the requirements of the grass, plant, and soil profile. The benefit is more precise treatment and less overfeeding, surge growth, and fertilizing runoff. Training is an important part of this process. Our best practices include precise fertilizer application, concentrating application rates, keeping them minimal yet producing a healthy stand of grass, blowing off the fertilizer prills from hard surfaces back onto the grass, preventing the material from entering the ponds and waterways. Nitrogen creates exaggerated algae bloom in ponds and waterways, and that must be prevented. As a general rule, we try to cover all of our stockpile soils and aggregates. On our seeding project, we use straw, seed mats, or biologs to control erosion. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at 952-953-2420. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Keenan Hayes and I'm the Natural Resources Technician for the city. My presentation is going to be on erosion and sediment control, which is a vital component in preserving the quality of our waters here in the city. So first of all, erosion is the displacement of soil. This is usually the result of rain moving unstabilized or bare soil off of construction sites. So sediment control then is the practice of installing various best management practices to contain this erosion. So how do we use proper sediment controls? We should begin every project with proper planning. Do we really need to remove the topsoil and vegetation from the entire project site, or can we do it in stages to minimize our impact? Next would be diversion. Can we divert the flow of water around open soil or stockpiles so that erosion never occurs? After this, we have cover. Every permit I issue states that stockpiles should be covered when not in use. This is with a tarp or straw. And this temporary stabilization is also a good method of cover. Some sort of winter barley or against straw or something like that. My next method would be contain. We can keep materials out of the storm drain by installing inlet protection devices. And we can also contain loose sediment by installing perimeter controls such as silt fence and biologs to keep sediment on the project site. So next we have slow. We can slow sediment down with rock checks and hay bales. This is for areas where we know there's going to be some sort of flow from the site. Following, we have maintain and clean. Now this is one of the most important and often overlooked aspects of erosion and sediment control. Once these best management practices are in place, we need to continually check to make sure that inlet protection devices are emptied when half full and silt fence or biologs are repaired when needed. And finally, we've got stabilize. Once the earthwork has been completed in the project area, the bare soil should be stabilized either with straw blankets, hydro mulch, or sod. 70% of cover needs to be established to meet these minimum requirements. So in conclusion, if you see any problems when you're out driving around, any track out or silt fence down, bare stockpiles next to a catch basin, feel free to give me a call. I'm at 952-953-2464.
Hi, I'm Jeff Wright and I work for the Fleet and Building Maintenance Division. I'm here to talk about the city's spill reduction and response plan. The city has a spill reduction and response plan implemented, which consists of spill kits, floor dry, along with preventive maintenance for all our equipment. The spill kits include Hazorb rags, Hazorb pillows, and Hazorb snakes to help dam up and absorb the spills and keep it from running down the curb gutters to a catch basin. The floor dry is another way to help absorb and clean up spills on the roads and the shops. When used, always make sure and sweep up the floor dry and bring it back to the shop and dispose of it into the used floor dry barrels. The spill kits are located in a few different places. The big plow trucks, the foreman's trucks, the CMF fuel pumps in a 5-gallon bucket with a cover on it. And we also have a bulk storage of those up on the mezzanine above the fleet offices. The barrels of the floor dry are located in the fleet bay, streets bays, and parks maintenance bay. The same areas also have the designated barrels you can dump the contaminated floor dry and used Hazorb rags into. You can mix them all in one. When full, we seal it and send them out to get recycled. The fleet and building maintenance program that we have helps reduce the chance of hazardous spills. We do a scheduled preventive maintenance on all our equipment. During these preventive maintenance checks, we look over the whole piece of equipment, looking for a potential wear and could cause a breakdown such as blown hydraulic lines or coolant lines, etc. When found, fleet staff will repair or replace the worn items before it has a chance to fail and cause a spill. CMF also has a wash bay that keeps debris and contaminants contained inside and is on a regular schedule to clean out and dispose material properly. Another thing I want to talk about is the hazardous material storage and recycling areas. The city recycles all its hazardous waste material. Some with recycle machines we have in-house, and the rest are from an outside licensed vendor. The items we recycle include used tires, used oil and antifreeze, Freon, used batteries, used aerosol cans, reusable shop rags, cleaning solvent, and fluorescent bulbs. All these items are collected and stored in labeled containers at CMF in the fleet maintenance shop area, except the fluorescent bulbs. They are stored over to the central receiving bay on a designated shelf. If you have any questions on the spill reduction and response plan or the hazardous waste storage, please get a hold of one of us in fleet. We'll be happy to help you out.
Hello, my name is Kent Zimmerman. I'm the Utility Supervisor, City of Apple Valley. Today we're going to be going over the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. One of the items that we're going to be talking about is the sanitary sewer maintenance. The reason that this is important is to make sure that we clean all of our sewers and do not have overflows going into the storm catch basins. The first item that we're going to be going over is the sanitary sewer maintenance. We clean all of this clay pipe sewer every other year. So citywide, no matter what year it is, we clean at least half of the clay sewer pipe every year. We also clean the clay pipe and PVC every 4 years. So combination, our goal is to clean all clay and PVC pipe every 4 years. We clean the spring and fall cleaning areas every year. So the spring and fall cleaning areas may include some opportunities like our commercial restaurant district where we may have a little extra grease. Those are some of the areas that we might clean every year. We also have some areas that we've had some problems with the pipe itself where it maybe has sagged a little bit, and those areas we also clean every year. We clean a total of 67 miles of sewer every year, and that's average. With COVID, we did clean a little less sewer, but we did take on a new product called the SL-RAT. The SL-RAT is an acoustic monitoring device, and what it does is it allows us to get a rating on a sewer pipe section. So if we've got one sewer pipe section from one manhole to the next, we can put down a transmitter and a receiver. And what it does is it takes into consideration the distance of pipe and the diameter of pipe. And what that does then is eventually it sends a tone sequence through the pipe, and the receiver then tells us what the amount that it received, and therefore it gives us a rating on that pipe section. So by doing so, we can kind of get an idea if it's got a lot of blockage in it, if it comes with a 3 or a 4 rating or a 2 or a 0. We know that we have to go out and clean that pipe section immediately. So this is something that we are taking on and using in our PVC pipes. We have a total of 200 miles of sanitary pipe in Apple Valley. There is a combination of VCP, vitrified clay pipe, and also PVC, polyvinyl chloride. The polyvinyl chloride is in the more recent years. It is much easier to maintain. It does not stick as much to the pipe, grease. It still does stick, but not nearly as bad as it does to the clay pipe. And clay pipe is no longer installed in most cities. We don't ourselves use it any longer. However, some of the older cities have decided to continue to use clay pipe. The sewage in Apple Valley is not treated in the city of Apple Valley. So when you're driving around the city of Apple Valley and you see water treatment facility, it is the drinking water treatment facility, not the sewage. The sewage is actually sent to 2 different plants. Part of the sewage goes to the Seneca wastewater plant that is in Eagan, Minnesota. And the other one is in Empire, Minnesota, referred to as the Empire Wastewater Treatment Plant. We have a lot of our piping that brings that water to those particular plants. So we do not have wastewater treatment in our city. Now I'd like to talk to you about storm sewer maintenance. There are 1,958 sump catch basins in the city of Apple Valley. There is 173 miles of storm sewer. These different storm sewers connect our lake system in the city of Apple Valley. As you know, we do not have any creeks or rivers to connect our system, so therefore we have our sump catch basins, which then pull the debris out of our pipes before it gets to our ponds and lakes. The pipe that comes into the catch basin has a sump basket under it. That pipe catches the debris as the water slows down. So what it does is, as the water flows in, it comes into a catch basin basket, which then slows that flow down. It slows the water down, and then as it leaves out the exit pipe, it then has dropped a bunch of that debris. So again, once we slow that water down, the debris drops out, and then it allows us to allow that cleaner water to head into the ponds or the lakes. The sump catch basins catches the debris that would have gone to the storm ponds. All of the sumps that are located on major roads are vacked out with a combination truck every year. The sump catch basins that are located at the residential roads are cleaned every other year. The next section that I'm going to talk to you about today is the material storage and disposal. So the dump pad that is located just north of the salt storage building has a designated dumping areas. Make sure that the material that you put into that dump pad is in the correct site. So we have a couple of different areas. We have our clean fill area, and most of that is from our water main breaks that are during the winter time. So we'll have just the dug up, very saturated water with the clay or sand or whatever happens to be in the hole, put into that site. Another site that we have down there is designated as the sweeping site. So we've got all of our street sweeping material that gets put into that site. We have another site down there designated as the Vector dump site. So when our crews are out vacuuming the sump catch basins, the material is very wet and ends up getting put into that site, which allows the water to drain off and the solids to settle out so that we can push those solids up onto the pile. Another site that we have down there is for concrete. So obviously anytime that we're pulling any curb sections out or sidewalk, we would dump that in that concrete dump bin. And then the other bin down there is for asphalt. So anytime that we have any kind of asphalt that we're pulling up, whether it be for a water main break or something else, that is to be designated and poured or dumped into that site. The sod is not considered clean fill. So anytime that we have to cut out some sod to do some repairs or so on and so forth, we need to get rid of that in its own pile so that it can be designated or hauled off to a sod site and not as clean fill. The sump catch basin waste and the street sweepings are disposed of as the same type of waste. So the main reason that we separate them is just to get the water to drain off from our sump catch basins, and then ultimately they get stored or piled together. The sanitary sewer material is dumped into the dump area just southwest of the salt storage building. The material is dried out and then is dumped into the special waste dumpster. A new cover was fabricated to keep the rain from mixing with the special waste and entering into the storm sewer system. So what we're talking about there is the sanitary sewer waste. When we go out and clean sanitary sewers, we vac up a lot of material and bring it back to the shop. We dump that into that area. Again, we allow the solids to kind of settle out and for the liquids to enter back into the sewer system. Once those solids have been dried out enough, we have a special waste 10-yard dumpster that's also down next to that site. We then scoop up all the material, bring it over to the special waste dumpster, and then dump that into the special waste dumpster. We then pull the cover back over the top of the special waste dumpster, so we keep rain from entering the dumpster and then ultimately coming down into the storm sewer catch basins. Our last area that I'm going to be talking to you about today is the wellhead protection and drinking water supply management area, or DWSMA. The wellhead protection area is a vulnerability area rating around our wells that we have inside of the city of Apple Valley. Inside the city of Apple Valley, we have 20 wells. Of the 20 wells, one of them is currently pulled, well number 16. Wells 1, 2, and 3 do not come to the water treatment plant. They are emergency only wells, as well as wells 14 and 15, which are in a different aquifer. The wells 14 and 15 are in the Mount Simon Hinckley aquifer, which is much deeper, and it is regulated by the DNR, and we do not pump out of it unless there's an emergency. The rest of the wells are in the Jordan aquifer. The green area on our map is low, the yellow area is a moderate, and the red area is a high vulnerability. So as you're looking at the map, that delineates the different vulnerabilities that we have in the city of Apple Valley. The red penciled in area is an emergency area, response area, that is considered a 1-year emergency response area. The green is the 10-year Jordan Aquifer Wellhead Protection Area. The blue penciled in area is the Prairie du Chien Aquifer Fracture Flow Wellhead Protection Area. So today we've talked about the sanitary sewer maintenance, storm sewer maintenance, the material storage and disposal, and then also our wellhead protection plan and our drinking water supply management area. If you have any questions with any of these things that I've talked to you about today, I can be reached at 952-953-2442. And again, my name is Kent Zimmerman.
Hi, this is Scott Werner, Supervisor with the Apple Valley Streets Department. Today we're going to talk about our salting and anti-icing methodologies. In the winter season of 2019 to 2020, we used 1,603 tons of salt. This was down from the previous year based upon the amount of salting and snow plowing events we had. On a yearly basis, there's calibration done to both the sanders on the trucks and the anti-icing unit. The anti-icing unit is used whenever possible to reduce salt usage. This helps prevent the bond between pavement and the snow and ice. We also pre-wet our salt at the spinner to activate salt faster and help salt adhere to the road surface. The 3 products that we are currently using are salt brine, AMP, and Apex. Salt brine is used when it's 20 degrees or higher. AMP is used between 10 degrees to 20 degrees, and Apex is used 10 degrees or below. To scrape as much snow off the roadways as possible, we have purchased Yoma cutting edges for the underbody plows. This product flexes to the pavement to remove the most snow before applying salt. All the products that are applied to the roadways are tracked using our precise AVL. This can be per truck, per route, and we can create geofences if need be. Now I want to talk to you about pond and outfall inspection/cleaning. Natural Resources does the inspection and creates a list that prioritizes what the Streets Department has for maintenance. The maintenance that the Street Department is involved in is cleaning and repairing inlets and outlets, iron filter replacement, and pond sediment excavation. When pond sediment is excavated out, it is hauled back to CMF so it can be tested for PAHs. After the tests come back for PAHs, the pond sediment is hauled to SKB Environmental for disposal. The Streets Department also takes care of storm sewer and catch basin repairs. This involves in patching and repairing using concrete to fill the voids within the catch basins and or replacing the rings. Lastly, I want to finish up with Apple Valley Street Sweeping Program. With the Street Sweeping Program, probably the biggest impact we do is the removal of debris from the roadways. In the spring of 2020, we removed 505 ton of debris. We removed 682 ton of debris in the fall of 2020. This was done with 2 rounds of sweeping in the spring and the fall. Typically, we start mid to late September and try to finish before the snow starts to fly. Throughout the summer, we typically have a sweeper out on a weekly basis sweeping the streets. The sweeper that we have out is our regenerative air sweeper. This sweeper is better at picking up fines because of its vacuum head. Typically, this is done 6 times throughout the year. Along with our sweeping program, there is 4 intensive sweeping areas that we try to sweep at least 3 times per year. This is done twice in the spring, twice in the fall, and then throughout the year. These areas are Long Lake, Farquhar Lake, Keller Lake, and Alamagnet Lake. All these areas are swept with our regenerative air sweeper, which has the ability to pick up smaller fines because it has a vacuum head pickup rather than our conventional sweepers with a broom. That's our program. If there's any further questions, feel free to contact myself or Jeff Lathrop with the Apple Valley Streets Department.